Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining me for this LinkedIn Loving Christmas special. It's a special because obviously it's Christmas again. I can't believe it's come around again so fast. But it's also a LinkedIn Loving special because it's just me. Normally on these things, I'm joined by guests who share their expertise on how we can maximize our LinkedIn results. But as it's Christmas, I thought I'd do one where we just look back and on 2023 because it's been a big year for LinkedIn. It celebrated 20 years since it was first launched out into the world, and I'm actually celebrating 10 years as the LinkedIn lady. So I thought we'd look back at what's changed in that time, what's not changed, and maybe help us prepare for 2024. So thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate everybody's winding down for Christmas very rapidly, but if you're here live with me, I really, really appreciate that. And for those of you that don't know, but LinkedIn Lovins, they're short, bite-sized LinkedIn learnings over lunch that are designed to shine a spotlight on the world's leading B2B social media platform, which is, of course, LinkedIn. And I do like to make these LinkedIn Lovins as interactive as possible. So please, if you do have any questions, I'd love to see them. If you could pop them in the comments box, I'll be able to come to them as we go throughout the session. So what I want to do today, actually start with what I think hasn't changed on LinkedIn. And one of the things I think hasn't changed is the fact that LinkedIn is still the #1 online networking platform. So it's 35 million people on LinkedIn in the UK and 1 billion worldwide. And LinkedIn gives us the number of ways that we can drill down and find the people that we want to meet. We can then use that and build relationships with them. We can turn them into opportunities of some sort, whether that's a new client, a collaboration, or a speaking opportunity. And, LinkedIn, I think, has become such a big part of our professional and business lives in the fact that, it's now the de facto, isn't it, to connect on LinkedIn when we're out networking. LinkedIn makes it easy for us to do that, don't they? Because they've given us this QR code. On the mobile, so when we're out and about, we can go and get our QR code and we can go and scan somebody else's LinkedIn profile and it'll bring their profile up for them. So we can go and easily find them and connect with them on LinkedIn when we are out and about. So, arguably, could it be the new business card? Will it replace business cards? I don't think it has quite, but you never know. And I know one of the kind of issues that people have when they are connecting with other people on via the mobile, that they struggle to personalize a connection request. And we can do it. You can personalize connection requests via the mobile. But like many things, it's actually hidden. So you have to go to that, you're on that person's profile, and you have to go to the 3 dots and select personalized connection. But they are talking about changing this next year to make it easier to do that. So hopefully it's something to watch out for next year, is that we'll be able to go and connect much more easily on there. The other thing I want to say quickly about the QR code as well is that they may be moving it, because at the moment you have to go to the search bar. So you go onto the mobile app, onto LinkedIn, and there's a little search bar at the top. You have to click on the search bar and it brings up the 4 little icons. And if you click on the 4 icons, it brings up the opportunity to actually then go in and scan a code. But it might be moving down to the bottom left bottom right of the app. There'll be a round circle, blue circle, and with a plus sign in it, and you can click on that. I haven't got that yet, as a lot of people I know haven't got it, but do look out for that. That may be coming along soon. So the other thing that I think hasn't changed is the fact that it's a website. It's another online presence that gets you found on Google. And what I love about that is that LinkedIn is free to host. The SEO is done for you, and you can change it in an instant. So for me, it's like, why not take advantage of the great benefit that LinkedIn gives us as business owners to get found on Google? So, that means that we need to look at LinkedIn in the same way as a website. And, often saying that is a light bulb for a lot of people, because we know what websites are, we know how they work. And if we think about websites, if we want a website to come up in the search results, then we have to optimize them for keywords so that your audience who will go on to Google and be typing in some keywords that they'll be looking for solutions. So, we need to optimize our LinkedIn profile the same way that we optimize our website. So you need to think about adding your keywords throughout your LinkedIn profile. That includes your headline, your about section, your job title, your skills section. And this year, LinkedIn actually added an option for us to add our top 5 skills to underneath our about section and also to the experience section. So here, this is a new feature. So if you haven't added this, I really recommend you go and having a look at this. And you can add up to 5 of your top skills. And they can be quite visible then underneath your about section. And then also on your experience section as well. So you can list key skills under your experience section, and they are then also displayed at the bottom of your profile where the skills section is. So I think, maybe a job over Christmas is it time just to give it a little bit of love and maybe review your profile? Does it actually say what you want it to say? Does it speak to your audience? And will it get found on Google? So maybe go in and have a look and add those keywords to your profile if you haven't already. And finally, I'm just going to remove that from there. I have a few slides, but they're not all slides. And finally, for me, the last thing that I think hasn't changed about LinkedIn is the fact that it's still the #1 platform for generating leads. And the reason I say that is because I think, LinkedIn for me is working 24/7 in the background. It's supporting all your other marketing activities, especially your networking. So it's facilitating those lovely word of mouth recommendations, isn't it? It makes it easy for people to find you, because we said about that at Google. And, it just makes it easy for people then to recommend you. And the other thing, I think the reason why LinkedIn is such a good platform for generating leads is because it is a networking platform. It allows us to meet people we couldn't normally meet and warm them up so they know who we are and actually want to talk to us. So it's effectively what networking is about, isn't it? It's all about building relationships with people. So I think those are 3 things that if you're doing that already, you should continue doing in 2024. For sure. And that's certainly what I will be doing as well. But what about what's new? What is there for us to think about that's going to be different in 2024? And one of the perennial questions I get is whether you should pay for LinkedIn or not. And, I always go, no, you shouldn't pay for LinkedIn. The premium, it's about £45 a month. It's generally not worth it. For some people, it might be. It depends on how much of a user you are. But generally speaking, I say no, but I think LinkedIn has been listening and it's thinking, actually, nobody's, buying or paying for premium. How can we make it sweeter for them? So they've added some new features, and you may have noticed on your journey around LinkedIn, this option to visit people's websites or to book an appointment or to view their portfolio. And this is the premium badge that you can add to your LinkedIn profile now. So on mine, I've got visit website, and Samantha here, she's got the option to book an appointment, which I quite like. If you want people to actually, book a call with you, having a link to your Calendly, for example, so they can go in and do that, I think is a really good idea. But is it enough to pay for LinkedIn? I'm going to talk about creator mode in a little bit. And I think it's really, creator mode allows us to add a link as well to our profiles. But I think the other thing we have to think about if this is going to be worthwhile is where are you sending people from LinkedIn? Because if you use the visit my website button, for example, just to send them to the homepage of your website, you're going to lose them. You're taking them off LinkedIn and they're going out into the ether, and you don't know then if they're going to take any form of action. So I want you to think about where you're sending people. So mine goes to my ebook. I have a free LinkedIn profile ebook, and my link goes there. Other people's links go to maybe a link tree or something like that. Obviously, Samantha goes to a Calendly link, which I think works really well. The other thing that we've got as well, with the paid version, should I say, is now we've got an option to feature parts of our profiles within the featured section. Is that enough to pay for it? I don't think so. So in this example here, I've featured a recommendation. So you can feature a recommendation, or you can feature lots of recommendations. I featured an experience section in my feature there. But again, I'm a bit, yeah, okay. Is it going to change my world? Is it going to bring me lots of leads? Is it going to be lots of new business from LinkedIn in 2024? No. Personally, I don't think so. So I still don't think paying for LinkedIn is particularly worth it. But if you disagree, I'd obviously love your feedback and thoughts on that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about actually is creator mode. Now, I know creator mode is not a new feature. It was actually introduced back in 2021. And the creator mode was introduced with the aim of giving content creators more visibility. So these are people who want to grow a following as opposed to a network. But I get asked a lot about creator mode and, what's it about and should I turn it on? Should I not turn it on? So I thought I'd walk through this feature and just talk through it, and so that you can decide whether it's something you want to turn on or off or not in 2024. Now, the thing with me, as much as I love LinkedIn, I am a little bit cynical about LinkedIn as a company. And what LinkedIn does is introduce features that will ultimately benefit them as a company. And I understand that, of course, they need to make a profit, and they need to make a profit for us, because if they're not making a profit, they're not here. So we definitely, I understand that completely. But what LinkedIn is wanting to do is become a destination for engaging, inspiring content, because what they want to do is keep people on the platform for longer. So I've got my cat walking around here. Show them your tail. Oh, you can't see the tail. Anyway. So sorry, I'm being distracted by my cat. Anyway, so what point is I'm making is that LinkedIn wants to be the destination for inspiring content, and it wants us as its members to create that content so that people stay on the platform longer. So it's giving us tools so that we can become content creators. And of course, this LinkedIn Live is one of them. It's me using LinkedIn tools to create content to keep people on the platform. But I always say that just because LinkedIn says you should do something doesn't mean you should. So, let's understand what it is, and then you can decide if it's for you. So if you don't have creator mode on and it's turned off, what you've got here is an example of the traditional layout of your LinkedIn profile. So this is Caroline. She doesn't have it turned on. So you've got a header banner at the top, a header section, photo, name, headline, and underneath that you can see the about section. With creator mode turned on, basically it just rearranges your profile so that you've got the featured comes above the about section. And also you get to put some what they call topics, but they're like little hashtags. It's what are you talking about? What do you do? So obviously I'm going to be talking about LinkedIn and things like that. So they call them topics that you can feature. So what is it that you talk about? And then, as I was saying before, you can also add a link here to an external website. And you've also got 30 characters here to say what that link is about. So you can, 30 characters isn't a lot, but, mine is, download your free profile ebook. So I'm sort of giving somebody a call to action to tell them what will happen if they click on that link and where they will go. So again, you need to be really clear about where you're sending people. Don't just send them to our homepage. Think about where you're sending them. And what I think is most important about this is your features section. I love the features section, and I think it's a really underutilized section of your profile. And again, what is the most important information that people need to know about you? So what I see happen a lot is that people will feature posts, which is fine, to feature a post. But what I find is that they don't update it or keep it up to date. And what happens is you've got posts that are 6 months, 9 months, a year old, even longer. So they're out of date. So what I like to feature on mine, again, is a link to my ebook. I'm always sending people off LinkedIn, but I'm sending them somewhere specific. I don't want to send them out into the ether. I want them to get them off LinkedIn and into my emailing list. Or you might want to put your Calendly link here if you want people to book a call with you. So really think about, what you've got on your featured. And again, opportunity to refresh it over Christmas and decide, is that actually what I want people to know when they come to my LinkedIn profile? The other thing about creator mode is that it changes normally when you go to somebody's profile, if they haven't got it turned on, the default button is to connect with them. But with creator mode turned on, the default becomes follow. So people can choose to follow you. They can still connect with you by going to the more button and clicking on that, and the option to connect is there. But some people actually like this because they don't like all the connection requests that come through. So if you get lots and lots of connection requests from people that you don't want to be connected to, turning to creator mode on will actually make that a follow button and make it less easy for them to connect with you. I like people connecting with me. I like to connect with people. Connecting so you're a first degree connection with people is a really good thing to do because it allows you to message them on LinkedIn. I can invite them to this event. So I invited my first connections to this event. I can invite them to follow my company page. But with the follow button, you can't invite people, you can't message people who are a second degree connection. They've opted to follow you and are interested in your content. So they only have the opportunity to see what you post, but that's pretty much all you can do with them. But what I do like is that you can then go and have a look yourself. Who is following you? And then you've got control of who you connect with, because you can then decide, am I going to connect with this person? Because if they're following you for a reason. And if they look like they're an interesting type of person, you can go and say, oh, thanks for following me. Would you like to connect as well? So it does give you a little bit of control, I think, over that. The other thing that we get with Creator Mode, as I say, are these tools. So you get these creator tools that will help you create content. So we can create lots of interesting content to keep people on the LinkedIn platform. So obviously LinkedIn Live like this, you also get LinkedIn newsletter. And again, if you're already blogging, if you've got a blog on your website, then having a newsletter could be something you want to take a look at next year if you haven't already. You need to make sure that when your newsletter title is catchy though, it can't just be my newsletter, because that will not get any engagement whatsoever. Also, we have audio events. So if anybody does podcasting, they may be interested in trying the audio events. The downside with LinkedIn audio events, though, is that they are not recorded. So I think there's ways and means of doing it. You need a third-party software that records it separately. It's also a bit of a mess, but you can do it. It needs a bit of setting up. But it's not recorded by LinkedIn, which I think is a great shame. And they also have this follow link. So this you can put this as an external link that you can put on a website or on your YouTube or something. And then people can actually click on that and come and follow you without being on LinkedIn. So they can click on the follow button and they can follow you on LinkedIn without being there. So that's quite cool as well. And of course, you get better analytics as well with Creator Mode. So I don't know, for me, Creator Mode is if you create a lot of content, if you're actively posting on LinkedIn, if you've already got a blog, or you do events like this, then Creator Mode will be really useful. If you want people to follow you rather than connect and have more control over who connects with you, then turn Creator Mode on. If you're new to LinkedIn and you still yet to build up a network, then I would leave Creator Mode off, because you need to build that network. We need to really get to that 500 plus connections. And also, if you're not active on LinkedIn, if you're not actively posting on a regular basis, it doesn't look great if you haven't got that activity. So don't turn it on. So LinkedIn is always encouraging us to turn it on by giving us these tools, but you don't have to turn it on if it doesn't suit you. You know, for a lot of people, myself included, LinkedIn is more about networking than it is about creating content. I'm not the world's greatest content creator by a long shot. So, you know, you don't have to turn it on. But interestingly, LinkedIn have introduced something called collaborative articles. And basically what this is a series of, or a collection of AI created articles. And what LinkedIn is doing is inviting us to add our perspective to them. So essentially, we're training LinkedIn's AI for free. So you may have seen in your feed, you know, so-and-so has answered a question, or somebody's contributed to an article. You may have even been invited to add your perspective to a collaborative article. And this is a bit of a carrot that they have to encourage us to do this. Because obviously, as I say, it's in their interest that we do this, but they give the option to actually get a top voice badge. So this orange here, you get a top, whatever the subject area is, voice. Now, there is actually a 60-day limit on this. So what you do is that you have to keep contributing on a particular subject. You can contribute on a whole host of collaborative articles. There's loads of them, and I've got a link we're going to share later on where you can go and have a look and see what they are. But the point is, if you want to get a top badge, it's going to be in a particular area. So you kind of need to be a little bit strategic. So if you do like customer experience, you want to always be adding your perspective to a series of customer experience articles. So this top badge here is quite easy to get. Oops, I've just gone too far already. It allows you, you only have to sort of contribute to 3 or more articles in a particular subject area to actually get that. But the thing is, it's only there for 60 days. So you've got to keep maintaining that to keep the badge. So is it worthwhile? I don't know. I've been playing with collaborative articles. I've been asking other people about it. Have they seen any benefit from being a top voice on LinkedIn? And nobody has seen any particular benefits other than this orange top voice badge, which you've then got to maintain. So I say it's a bit of a carrot from LinkedIn's point of view. And also we have to remember, or which you may not be aware of, but there are actually 2 top voices. And the orange badge is what's known as a community top voice, basically, because that's us commenting on these collaborative articles. But actually there is a blue top voice, which is much harder to get. And this is an invitation only option. So LinkedIn actually invites you to be a top voice. You get people like, Richard Branson and things like that. They're often invited to be a top voice. And it's much more visible, the top voice, than the blue top voice, should I say, than the orange community one. But if you want to have a play with collaborative articles, see what you think. You can go to linkedin.com/advice, and it gives you a list of all the articles, and I'm sure more and more are going to be added as time goes on. There's a lot already, a lot have been added. And just have a play, see if there is something there that you do want to add your perspective to. And I'd love to hear your feedback if it's worked for you. But when I say, the benefit, as in, does it drive more profile views? Do you get more people sending you messages? Do you get more people connecting with you or interested in what you do? No, nobody I've talked to, and myself included, has seen any significant increase in that just because we've been adding our perspective. But LinkedIn this is a new feature, and LinkedIn evolves these things over time. So next year they could become better. It could be different. It could be a good option for us. Obviously, I'll let you know as soon as that happens. I'm just going to check how we're doing. So lovely Kay, I'm just going to answer this question. I'm going to just from Kay, who actually has a question about the follow button in creator mode or keep connect. Oh, do you have to have the follow button in creator mode? Yes, sorry, by default you can't change it. That's what it is. So you have to have the if you have creator mode on, it has to be the follow button. You can't have the connect button. So thank you for that. So I will just take that off. Right, so another new feature that LinkedIn has added, and you've probably all seen, is this repost option. So we can now, it's where the share, it used to be called share, but what they've done is reintroduce 2 options. So we can now repost with your thoughts, which fundamentally is sharing like we used to do. So you create your own unique post with somebody else's post at the bottom of it. Or you can repost, which is a bit like a retweet. It pushes that original post back out onto the newsfeed, and you'll see on your newsfeed if somebody like so-and-so has reposted this. So it's pushing somebody else's post out onto their newsfeed, so increasing the visibility of that particular post for that person. So it's a nice thing to do, isn't it? I don't know how much more visibility it garners for the original author, but actually, I think if you're wanting to support people, reposting in this way, I think is a good thing to do. However, I have to tell you that reposting with thoughts, that sharing still doesn't work on LinkedIn. As much as LinkedIn encourages to share other people's content in that way by creating a unique post from their content, it still doesn't garner the same amount of content as you would if you created your own unique post. So my advice to everybody, if you want to support your network, and that's a lovely, lovely thing to do, you want to always like and comment on their post first. Like and comment, because that gives you more visibility and it gives them more visibility. So it's a win-win all round. So like and comment on their post, and then decide. You could just repost it, so it pushes it back out. Or if you do want to share with your own thoughts, the fact that you've liked and commented, that's a good thing. Or you can just use their post and create your own unique post instead. But, like and comment always is the best thing to do. Okay, now something that has gone, did anybody remember that we used to have these little video behind your profile. So if you went to somebody's LinkedIn profile and you clicked on, just moved your cursor over to the profile photo, it would pop up with like 10 seconds of a video, and it was known as a cover story. That's actually now gone. So they stopped allowing people to do new ones in July, and now they've deleted them from the profiles altogether. I think it's going to be watch this space of what's happening with video next year in 2024. There's got to be something happening, and there's a lot of debate at the moment as to what that's going to be. So that's something to be watching out for, I think, in terms of video, because video is a big thing, isn't it? I don't know if anybody actually had a cover story, but I don't really know how useful it was, but they're no longer with us. So my final piece of advice for 2024 is to have a secure password. Now, LinkedIn is seen as the most trusted social media platform, but sadly, it is open to abuse by unscrupulous players. So I always advise, I do bang my drum a lot about this, always do your due diligence when people are inviting you to connect, because we've got a lot of fake profiles out there on LinkedIn, and we can't assume just because a lot of people that are connected to them that they are actually bona fide. So you always need to go to the profile, have a look, and decide whether you want to connect with them or not. The other thing you need to do is make sure you have a secure password, because unfortunately LinkedIn does get hacked. I know of 2 people who have had their profiles hacked by dodgy hackers, and basically what happens is they get locked out of their accounts, and these hackers then go message everyone, all of their connections, going, oh, hi so and so, I've got this lovely project, click on this dodgy link here. And because we know the person or we're connected to them, we feel we trust them when we go and click on the link, and hey ho. So you need to make sure you've got a secure password. And this, again, it'd be a great time over Christmas and New Year to go in and check what your password is. When did you last update it? Does it need to be updated and made stronger? So I use something called Bitwarden, and bitwarden.com/password-strength. I'll bob that into the comments afterwards. Sorry, I forgot to send that over to Sarah. But this allows you to test the strength of your password. So something like hello123, for example, of course, it's going to be cracked in seconds. But actually, if you use words with spaces, like 2-3 words, I believe if you're in cybersecurity, actually, there is like 3 or 4 words, like a phrase is supposed to be really good. So my LinkedIn password is about 4 words, but I've got spaces between each word. But you can see that even just putting in a space, I've just got 2 words here, has made it a lot harder to crack centuries. So do please go in and test that. So Kate asks, why can't we have carousels anymore unless paid ads? They've taken that out. You can still have, so I think there's a bit of a misnomer in terms of the carousels. So you can upload a PDF document, which is like a Canva, done in Canva. It has got a series of images that you can click through. But they had carousels which had videos that you could embed videos on, and that was I never got that as a feature. It was introduced to a select few and then never took off. So you can have the carousels still, but they just don't have embedded videos and things like that. It's like I think it's a bit difficult because of the wording is too similar. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Sarah's put the bitwarden.com password strength URL in the comments there if anybody wants to go and test that out. So I did have some other questions here as well, but that's really, really common question when it comes to content on LinkedIn. About repurposing Facebook posts for LinkedIn. Can you repurpose Facebook posts, or should you have a different strategy? And I say this all the time to people, is that, the content for LinkedIn does not need to be different to any other social media content that you're putting out there. It can be the same. It's just the way that you may post it may be slightly different to others. So for example, Instagram has lots of hashtags, doesn't it? Whereas LinkedIn only has up to 5 hashtags. So it may be the algorithm, the way that you post for the algorithm is different, but the actual content itself can be the same. And I'll often look at people's Facebook and go, yeah, you can post that, you can post that, you can post that, you can post that. So no, you can absolutely use Facebook posts where relevant for LinkedIn. You don't need to have a different, and for me, a content strategy should go across the board. Your content strategy should include your website, all your social media, your emails, blah, 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 and everything. So is there any more questions at all? Oh, right. Okay. So, sorry, let me just put this question up. So Kay was saying, yeah, we use the PDFs, but it wouldn't let us schedule the PDF. So is that schedule on LinkedIn native scheduling? So you can schedule natively to LinkedIn now. If it is, that's interesting because they are now allow you to schedule posts with multiple images on it. So maybe that they still haven't allowed that. I don't actually use the scheduler that often. What I'd like, so just to let you know, the next LinkedIn LoveIn is on the 19th of January. It's all going to be about selling on LinkedIn with a chap called Mark Endicott. So I'm really looking forward to that. And also in February, we're going to be talking about AI and authenticity. So again, I think there's going to be two very, very popular sessions. I haven't talked about AI in this one because it's such a huge subject, but do come and join me for future LinkedIn LoveIns. And that was questions. So I don't think there was any more questions here today, but if you do have any more questions, please pop them in the comments box. And I hope that's given you some sort of ideas and food for thought in terms of what you can do going forward with LinkedIn in 2024, and maybe give you some ideas as to going in and tweaking your profile and making the most of the new features that are coming out. Thank you again for joining me, and I will wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year, and I shall see you all in 2024. Thank you so much for joining me.